I used to play a lot of Flash games as a kid. I can remember them being there as far back as I can recall. This makes sense, considering that Flash games have been around. But little did 5-year-old me know that browser-based games had been around for about 16 years before they even touched a computer in 2011. The example I'm talking about is Earth 2025, released in 1995. Earth 2025 was played for the first time in October 1996. Having just been developed by Solaria Games, soon, in 1997, Solaria started to offer non-game services like a message board. Solaria released another MMO called Utopia in 1998. Both Earth 2025 and Utopia were gaining players fast, but that was the late 90s. Where do the two games stand now? Earth 2025 shut down in 2009. Solaria accounting this due to the frameworks and technology it worked on being outdated and hard to update. Utopia is still going to this day, and I looked at the game's website and it had 189 players. Back to browser and Flash games. In the 1990s, when JavaScript and HTML were created and expanded upon, ClassicGames.com was made in 1997 to host these quick and fast-paced browser games. Yahoo bought the site a year later and rebranded that website Yahoo Games, which was closed on March 31st, 2014, and the games section of Yahoo was completely shut down on May 13th, 2016. So when this guy named Tom Fulp made a game called Pico's School filled with questionable 2000s humor and released it on his site called Newgrounds, it became pretty popular, being the first ever Flash game. And soon started to play these games like it was nobody's business. Kids in computer labs at school, people in public libraries, even in older demographics started to play these games. I have very fond memories of watching my mom play Farmville on Facebook. New websites had come into the mix to host these games, such as Armor Games and Congregate, even Girls Go Games. There were tons of these websites to pick from, all having the same type of Flash games, and we loved them. Everything good must come to an end, though. The hype of Flash games couldn't last forever. They hit their peak popularity in the middle of the 2000s, yet waned in the early 2010s, due to the sudden rise of a new app store on phones. That is not to say that they were not popular. In fact, you could probably ask just about anyone who grew up online what a Flash game was, and they would probably be able to tell you what it is. Unfortunately, Flash was discontinued on December 31st, 2020. So today, gamers, I am here to tell you about my favorite Flash game. Dating sims, what an interesting genre. When I was between the ages of 11 and 13, one creator had a monopoly on the Flash game dating sims that I played. Their username, Patchassist. From what I can see on the Wayback Machine, they have at least 54 downloadable completed projects at the time of January 2nd, 2021. Most of these projects I didn't even know about because I didn't play them on the Patchassist website before it went down. It's not hard to find the reason that these projects went down in the first place. According to the Patchassist wiki, Patchassist made most of these old projects from 2008 to 2013. On the Patchassist wiki, it says that Patchassist has revealed her birth year to be 1994, which at the time of this recording would make her 29 years old. Which is why it's completely understandable that Patchassist would want to take down these old projects as a result of becoming a more mature person. I'm not here to shame Patchassist for her decision. I just want to review a game that I really liked from the age of 11 and 13, Wonderland Days Sim Date. Some would call this an otome game, some a dating sim, some a visual novel. I just say it's a nice Flash game that I'm scared to replay in case of seeing it again like it's seeing your old childhood bedroom after you've moved out all the stuff out of it, lifeless, boring, and depraved by the soul-crushing present day. Who knows, perhaps I'm wrong. I went for Elliot Von Hart this playthrough. He's the king guy. He can even go on the man document. I don't have much to say about this game other than praise. You can call it nostalgia while you try to pry it from my cold dead hands. I have to wonder, how many of Patchassist's projects are now lost media because of the discontinuation of Flash? I try not to think about the projects that have been lost because of Flash getting discontinued. Hey, have you ever wanted to work at a restaurant? Have you ever wanted to live off of tips and have to handle the stress of running a restaurant by yourself because your boss ran away to leave you with the restaurant because he wants to commit tax evasion? I did, as a child. That's why I played all the Papa's Gamerias. My favorite one being Papa's Wingeria, which is the 6th game out of all the 17 currently released games. The 3 out of the 17 are not made in Flash. Papa's Wingeria has a basic gameplay loop. Customer comes in, you take their order, cook wings, put sauce on wings, put wings, other sides, and sauces on plate, serve customer, get score and tips. When I played this game, I was 13 to 14 years old. I had a bunch of time to spend during the pandemic, so I got to rank 15 in Papa's Wingeria. I don't have the save anymore, unfortunately. This game reminds me of 2 of my other favorite Papa's Gamerias. Papa's Bakeria was another Flash game I played a lot when I was 11 on a school laptop on coolmathgames.com. I would come home from school in 6th grade and play the game. I got to rank 12 in Papa's Bakeria, and I remember being shocked at how the Papa's franchise was turning 10 at that point in time. I also remember the filling station where you would fill the pies with the desired filling was super difficult to control, and also the topping station was horrible too. I didn't like that, but I learned to love it after a time. Jack Smith was another game I really liked by Flipline Studios. It technically is not a gameria, instead taking the general concept of a gameria, and instead of a human restaurant, you are a medieval furry blacksmith. I used to walk to the local library in my town to use their computers when my computer would break and randomly I wanted to play Flash games. Jack Smith was one of my favorite Flash games overall, and coincidentally, it came out right after Papa's Wingeria. So you might be asking, who created the Gamerias? Well, Flipline Studios, the studio who is responsible for the Gamerias, was founded in 2006 by Matt Neff and Tony Solari. Tony and Matt even appear in their games as customers. How cool. Ramkit was another site I frequented from 12 to 14. They had many Dollhouse, Dress Up Doll, and other miscellaneous games with cute characters they had created most of the time. I can't remember where I had found out about the site, but I remember that I really enjoyed it. Ramkit converted their Flash games to Flash emulators so that all their games could still run in browsers. These emulators include AS3 and AS2. They also use HTML5 in some of their later games. I played most, if not all, of these pastel Dollhouse-like games. Most of them have the same recurring characters that appear, so let's talk about them. The 2 main characters are Jinx and Minx. Jinx is a brown plush rabbit with a missing eye and a tail. Minx is a white plush rabbit with 1 heart eye and 1 normal eye and a blue bow. Jinx and Minx also have a pet dog named Bagel. He's devoted, goofy, and happy, which, okay, how do these 2 rabbits have a pet dog? Don't dogs eat rabbits? I don't know, that's not my business. Other characters include Pepper and Pixie, which are gray and white cats, Jasper, Lola, and Missile, who are all cats also. There are a ton of cats here for some reason. Appa, which is a dog, Molly, which is a doll, Tumble, a teddy bear, Chips, a chipmunk. There are some more characters, but I think you get the point. These games scratched the urge to be a small woodland animal, and possibly fed into it more than anything. I love these games, and can't wait for the next one. I will patiently wait for it. I really like these Flash games. The question I have is how Flash games compare to the rest of art. Art in itself is subjective. What one person could think is an absolute masterpiece, another person could think is utter trash. Yet even if art is subjective, everyone likes so many different combinations of different genres of different forms of art. And then, I think that Flash games were so widespread and impactful that when Flash went down and people were working to make Flash emulators, it felt like the Library of Alexandria in a way. Although it is common that when internet archaeologists discover broken links or media that can't be found, but at the time, this was huge from what I remember. I remember being told that people were trying to back up as many Flash games as they could. And even now, almost 4 years later, a good amount of Flash games are still considered lost media. But let's not talk about Flash games. Let's talk about the Library of Alexandria for a minute. When the Library of Alexandria was up and running, it had over 100 philosophers that lived in it full time to maintain the scrolls of papyrus that were held inside of it. When the Library of Alexandria burnt down, did anyone who lived in the Library of Alexandria, if they survived the burning, did they miss the library? Is it too bold to say that in a way, a really artistic way, we were the scholars of the internet and flash games and other lost pieces of media lost to the universe are somehow comparable to the Library of Alexandria? What would we, our internet culture, look like if media we are currently looking for today had not been lost? Perhaps that was too far of a reach. I am extremely passionate about flash games and the internet in general. I wonder how many people missed the accessibility of flash games before Flash was shut down. I am extremely grateful for the amount of flash games I played in my childhood and how they shaped me as a human being. This is all from my video. Have a good day. I will see you all in the next video. Please check the links in the description for more.